it's kind of the perfect way to start the conversation with someone. I could start here, I can take you all over, you know, all different things. I mean, there's a few things very early on as really good to get those little hints on how to do something in a very simple way. Something like, and you're talking to this great chef, I taught just how to make a really good Yorkshire pudding, which is a really hard thing to do. Someone takes that, and for the rest of their lives, they know how to make a great Yorkshire pudding. That's a great thing. More importantly, it's a good look into other countries and to meet other people and have a passion about, oh, Switzerland looks amazing and we should go and visit, and where they make that cheese or that chocolate. And so hopefully it's a multi-layer thing. I think probably you, because you give the rules probably a lot. I've always denied myself things that I love. Oh, I won't drink alcohol, I won't eat bread, or I'll not eat sugar, or I'll avoid, but I'm probably the pickiest, yeah. Well, I think we're quite close to the characters, to be honest. That's a big bit of casting for Pete Jackson. I love the fact that as we've got older, I mean, me, Billy, and all of us have loved to play hobbits, but as we've got older, we are leaning towards more and more towards long dinner with friends and cups of tea and biscuits, and I like to garden, Billy has a garden, Sean Astin has a big garden. We're very much leaning into these archetypes of hobbits. As Billy said, it's just great casting. I don't know if I'm more likely to get lost or not, but I like getting lost in cities that you know are safe. I love getting lost in Sydney and Tokyo and London, as long as you know that you're safe and there's a tube nearby. I was the last Hobbit to arrive, and Billy had been there for a while with Elijah and Sean, and I've met Billy, Elijah, and Sean the same day, and just from happenstance, my day happened to seem to end the responsibilities that day with Billy's day ending at the same time. And I thought Billy said, do you want to go get a pint? And both being British people and spending quite a bit of time in pubs, do you want to go get a pint? I was going back into time in Wellington, so was Billy. We ended up having a couple of beers and playing some pool and getting a snack, and I think at that point he knows the way that people from Britain seem to socialise, in the way that possibly Elijah and Sean might be more along the lines of let's get dinner, let's go do an activity. We were just having pool and having a beer, and you know, we're spending all this time together, and we both know that we socialise in the same way. That really cemented it. Certainly one of the things that stood out to me, and I think that was really kind of a magical thing, was when we were filming the Moria scene, and we were in the Balin's tomb, and obviously an incredible set. I would look around and think, well, we've got all the hobbits, Frodo, Sam, Merry and Pippin, and there's Gandalf and Legolas and Boromir, and for the first time we're all fighting, and swords are out, and bows and arrows are out, and I'm thinking, this is the first time that I remember seeing the Fellowship kind of working in all cylinders, and the more time that you go about away from that, the more significant you find those weeks are, you know. Of Moria, well, I was actually filmed on top of that mountain where people weren't allowed to go on, and we got special, we were all allowed to do it this one day with a very scarce crew, so just one makeup person, one camera, and I remember having lunch up there, and everyone is in character, and we're all just eating sandwiches, and I remember thinking, well, we're just the Fellowship, yeah, and we're just on the top of the mountain stopping for lunch, you know, and that felt really special. Yeah, the first thing we do after Gandalf dies is have lunch, yeah. And there's a little moment where Boromir is teaching Merry and Pippin a little bit of his sword play, and he's doing a few exercises, and I seem to recall that just came about because Billy and I had been learning a bit more about how to be hobbits with a sword, and Sean Dean was there with his sword, and we're faffing about, and Pete sort of thought, let's just get this little shot of them waiting to make the sausages to cook, and that sort of thing would happen all the time. So in terms of behaving sort of like the Fellowship, when you put it all together, it all just was happening, you know. I was just thinking time off, where time was very scarce, but whenever we did have some time off, we took up surfing. We were allowed to go for a surf, and there was a place called Castle Point, where if we had a couple of days off, we would drive up there, and in New Zealand they have banshees, these little wooden houses, and you put the keys down in those local store, and I'd go see if there's any banshees around, and they'd say there's a 4-bedroom, oh let's take it. And we just lived there, and for a couple of days, and we'd just get together and go for a surf, and just kind of, you know, blow off some steam, and just clean the place up, and put the keys back, and back to work again. That was kind of those were fun weekends. What would it be called? Faith, Michael footsteps from the Shire, or something like that. Stepping on the road. Meals of Middle Earth. It comes in pints. I'm getting one. In New Zealand, actually, when we did have some sort of time off, it was always Billy and off hosting people at our houses for barbecues. John Austin had a young daughter, so it wasn't easy to do that. Elijah's place, you know, he just wasn't really on the cards as much. On the weekend, the barbecues were happening, usually at Billy's, and I'd come over early and prep stuff, and the two of us would cook for the entire group of people that showed up. India. I've never been to India. Oh, that'd be great. And the food's incredible. Well, they're my favourite food, so yes, India. I'm going to say Thailand, and I'm sure they'll go to Thailand at some point. In India, we went to India when we were making Lord of the Rings. It's just extraordinary. The thing that always jumps out at me, when I grew up, I grew up never like roast dinner, because it kind of bored me a little bit. We went to a dinner called Hog's Ball, and we just had taught us how to make his version of a roast dinner. It completely changed the way that I feel about roast dinners. When I'm in England now, I'm looking for a place that I can get a Sunday roast, because it was so good. I had a meat, not from an animal, but kind of from an animal. What do you call that? Lab meat. Basically, they take a cell from an animal. It doesn't have to die or anything, of an egg, and they can make chicken from that. They're just starting to do it in Northern California. So they made like a chicken breast, and I had it as a meal, and it basically was taken from one cell, and they'd roll that into meat. I think Vigo would be pretty good, wouldn't he? I think, yeah, it'd be Vigo. I know Vigo, I guess, right, wouldn't you? Maybe not annoyed if he's a little tired being going on, but the great thing about Vigo is he's fearless. When he's been having an experience, he's 100% goes for it. I just have that feeling with Vigo that if you had that, find yourself in a city the three of us had been before, you know, he wouldn't be the person just to get room service or whatever. Vigo's like, let's go, get the boats on, we're going to go exploring. So I thought Vigo would be great for that. What about breakfast? I've had one, yes. What about second breakfast? I worked in Ireland for about 3 years ago, and in Dublin, and we would have weekends off. And a couple of times in those weekends, I went to see my extended family who live in Norway. And when the sun is shining in Ireland, which is like 3 days of the year, and you've got green rolling hills and lots of arable and landscapes, and people are out and exploring forests and stuff. I remember thinking this is about the closest to New Zealand or the Shires I can see. Yeah, I would say Scotland is would we went to the other Haverties of the show, and Harvest Lewis is, it kind of feels like a dream when you see those white beaches and turkers and seas. Are just really beautiful, you know. Oh, lovely, lovely stuff. The most fun I've ever had is a spot here in Los Angeles called Sunset. I just love a sunset. It's got kind of a mellow wave. Everybody's there and have fun, and it's pretty chill, and I would say having more fun there than having more spectacular places and stuff. But yeah, no, nice in the early morning, a sunset at the knee. Favourite Old Trafford, Paul Scholes scoring an absolute screamer to get us into the semi-final of the Champions League against Barcelona at Old Trafford. Never heard louder noise at Old Trafford than that. That's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think it's not from a single person, it's from a lot of people, but the idea of live your life now to be is no important, and it's so difficult to do. We all think, if I just made that a little bit more money, then I'll be happy, or if I just lived in that house, if I do this, then I'll be happier next year, you know. But it's so important, and traveling does that for you. You're waking up in a new country, in a new hotel room, and you think, oh, I'll go and explore. Oh, what have you got? Oh, I've got this hot gallery today. That makes you leaving that day. I'd like to think, well, I'm not always doing this, but I'm trying my best to remember it in challenging moments of, you'll never regret being kind when you're in situations to be kind or unkind. And I found in situations where it might be tricky, but I've did try to be as kind as I did there. So you never find yourself with these regrets. Yeah, probably shouldn't have said that, or probably shouldn't have said this. As I've got older, I've said when in doubt, be kind, because you're never gonna regret that. In one word, curious. I like curious, yes. I got years, I did it. I would say smell. I would say content. I think Billy shows a great example of being content. This whole thing about you got to be happy in your life, you got to do this and that. I kind of feel like being content is the way to be, you know. Oh, thank you. Great to talk to you.